Welcome to PC, Police Chase. Get ready, what you're about to see are real, unscripted, no rehearsals chases. Everything happens incredibly fast. Every decision has irreversible consequences. The situation escalates every second, and you won't believe how far it can go. If you're ready for this breathtaking journey, let's begin. What began as a dangerous traffic alert in Colorado quickly escalated when state troopers received reports of a vehicle driving on the wrong side of the roadway. Moments later, a gray Jeep Gladiator was identified traveling westbound near Cortez, already putting multiple drivers at risk. The situation intensified rapidly. The driver refused to comply with emergency lights and sirens, continuing forward while narrowly avoiding head-on collisions. At one point, the Jeep came dangerously close to striking another vehicle head-on, forcing immediate evasive action. Troopers maintained pursuit at speeds around 60 to 65 miles per hour, even as the suspect entered a construction zone, further increasing the risk. Recognizing the threat, officers requested authorization to perform a tactical intervention. The first PIT attempt was made but failed. Within seconds, the trooper repositioned, preparing for a second and more decisive move. The second and aimed attempt changed everything. A well-timed pit maneuver struck the rear of the Jeep, sending it into a controlled spin. The vehicle came to a stop along Highway 160 near mile marker 48 to 49, ending the dangerous pursuit before it could escalate further.
Right, I'm looking at the national park is monitoring Mesa Verde. Take the closest response, help them out. If not, make the set.
I copy.
514 from the 62.
514, I copy, 62, 114.
Sponsor 507 from the 76.
507, I copy, 76, 105.
Troopers immediately exited their vehicles with weapons drawn, issuing clear commands for the driver to show hands and walk backward toward them. After several tense moments, the suspect complied and was taken into custody without further incident. What began as a wrong-way driving report turned into a high-risk pursuit, proving that even at moderate speeds, reckless decisions can create life-threatening situations in seconds. The subsequent investigation revealed surprising details. The teenager was not only driving a stolen car, but was also on the Newnan Police Department's missing persons list. He is currently being held at Fayette County Jail and has been denied bail. A long list of offenses awaits fire, ranging from traffic violations and driving a dangerous vehicle without a driver's license to making false statements. This is clear evidence that a moment of youthful recklessness can lead to lifelong consequences. The situation intensified almost immediately. The driver refused to stop, continuing forward while narrowly avoiding multiple head-on collisions. At one point, the Jeep came dangerously close to striking another vehicle, missing by only seconds. Troopers maintained pursuit at speeds between 60 and 65 miles per hour as the suspect approached a construction zone, increasing the risk even further. A request for a tactical intervention was made. The first PIT attempt failed, but the trooper stayed committed, quickly repositioning for another opportunity. Seconds later, the second attempt was executed. The PIT maneuver connected cleanly with the rear of the Jeep, sending it into a controlled spin. The vehicle came to a stop along Highway 160 near mile markers 48 to 49, bringing the dangerous situation to an end. What started as a routine patrol in Polk County, Florida, quickly escalated when a Dodge Charger suddenly accelerated, weaving through traffic in an attempt to evade Florida Highway Patrol. Within seconds, lights and sirens were activated, but the driver had already made his decision. The situation intensified as the pursuit moved through crowded streets. The suspect drove aggressively, reaching speeds of around 80 miles per hour even through residential areas. He made sudden turns into smaller roads, cutting through traffic and creating multiple near-collision situations. At one point, the driver even entered oncoming lanes, forcing other vehicles to react instantly to avoid impact. Troopers stayed close, maintaining pressure while waiting for a safe moment to intervene. The situation intensified as the pursuit moved through crowded streets. The suspect drove aggressively, reaching speeds of around 80 miles per hour even through residential areas. He made sudden turns into smaller roads, cutting through traffic and creating multiple near-collision situations. At one point, the driver even entered oncoming lanes, forcing other vehicles to react instantly to avoid impact. Troopers stayed close, maintaining pressure while waiting for a safe moment to intervene. The car spun 180 degrees and crashed into the guardrail atop the overpass crossing I-75, leaving the rear of the vehicle completely wrecked and sending clouds of dust and smoke into the air. Police immediately apprehended Jontavius Hood and his passenger, D. Foster, at the scene. Fortunately, this thrilling chase ended without causing any casualties among the surrounding civilians. On January 21, 2026, in Fayette County, Georgia, what began as a stolen vehicle report quickly escalated when deputies located a red SUV taken earlier that day. At approximately 2:45 p.m., the vehicle passed deputies near Brooks-Woolsey Road and Antioch Road. When officers attempted to initiate a stop, the driver, a 17-year-old made his decision, and took off. The situation escalated immediately. The stolen SUV accelerated past 100 miles per hour, weaving through roadways and pushing far beyond safe limits. The driver showed little regard for traffic, road conditions, or control, turning a simple stop into a high-risk pursuit. Deputies maintained pursuit but began weighing the risk, preparing to disengage due to the extreme speed and danger. But before that decision could fully take effect, everything changed. The SUV lost control. At high speed, the vehicle rolled multiple times, flipping violently across the roadway before coming to a stop near the intersection of Brooks-Woolsey Road and Highway 85. The pursuit ended in seconds, but the damage was already done.
You have any weapons with you?
Deputies rushed in with weapons drawn, ordering the driver to show his hands and crawl out through the shattered vehicle. The 17-year-old suspect was taken into custody without further incident. He now faces multiple charges, including reckless driving, speeding, failure to obey traffic signals, driving without a license, and providing false information to law enforcement. He was denied bond and remains in custody. What started as a stolen vehicle turned into a high-speed crash, proving that sometimes the chase doesn't need to be stopped because the driver loses control first. What began as a report of erratic driving quickly escalated when officers spotted a silver Ford Focus traveling at high speed and moving unpredictably across lanes. When the trooper attempted to initiate a stop, the driver made a critical decision. He accelerated and fled. The situation escalated rapidly. The driver weaved aggressively through traffic, making multiple lane changes without signaling and pushing speeds well over 100 miles per hour. He failed to maintain control of the vehicle, drifting between lanes and nearly colliding with other drivers. Even as the pursuit continued onto connecting highways, the behavior didn't change. This was no longer reckless driving. It had become a dangerous and unstable situation, with every second increasing the risk. The chase came to a sudden and violent end. As the vehicle exited onto a connecting roadway, the driver lost control while attempting another high-speed maneuver. The car slammed into an embankment and rolled over, coming to rest in a severely damaged condition. There was no controlled stop, only impact. Officers approached the overturned vehicle with weapons drawn, issuing commands, but there was no response. Moments later, they discovered the driver had suffered fatal injuries in the crash. What began as erratic driving turned into a deadly outcome, proving that when control is lost at high speed, there is no recovery, only consequences that cannot be reversed.
Can you see? Huh? I have it. Can you see it? See inside from where you are? What do you want to do? Let's go. Let's go. That's good, bro. That looks good. Yeah, he's probably gonna be, that's probably gonna be,
What began as a stolen vehicle alert quickly escalated when officers located a gray Toyota Camry moving at high speed on the highway. When law enforcement attempted to initiate a stop, the driver made his decision, he accelerated and fled. The pursuit quickly intensified. The suspect pushed through traffic at high speed, refusing to slow down while officers stayed in close pursuit. Units coordinated behind him, maintaining pressure and waiting for a safe opportunity to end the chase. Despite the growing risk, the driver continued forward, committed to escape. That moment finally came. A pursuing unit executed a precise pit maneuver, striking the rear of the Camry. The vehicle spun out of control and slammed into the roadside barrier, coming to a sudden stop. But the pursuit wasn't over yet. The driver immediately exited the vehicle and ran into a wooded area nearby. Officers gave chase on foot, issuing commands as they closed the distance. Within minutes, the suspect was located, ordered to the ground, and taken into custody with the assistance of multiple units. What started as a stolen vehicle pursuit ended in a foot chase, proving that even when the car stops, the escape attempt often continues, but the outcome stays the same. What started as a stolen vehicle alert quickly escalated when officers located a gray Toyota Camry speeding along the highway. When they attempted a stop, the driver made his decision and kept going.
Just turned off on camera.
That moment finally came. A pursuing unit executed a pit maneuver, striking the rear of the Camry. The vehicle spun violently and slammed into the roadside barrier, coming to a stop. That moment finally came. A pursuing unit executed a pit maneuver, striking the rear of the Camry. The vehicle spun violently and slammed into the roadside barrier, coming to a stop. But the suspect wasn't done yet. He immediately bailed out of the car and ran into a wooded area nearby. Officers gave chase on foot, closing the distance and issuing commands. Within minutes, the suspect was located, ordered to the ground, and taken into custody. What started as a stolen car chase didn't end when the vehicle stopped. It only changed form, but the outcome stayed the same. What started in West Allis, Wisconsin, quickly turned into a dangerous pursuit when a stolen vehicle slammed into a police cruiser and fled the scene. Within seconds, officers activated lights and sirens, but the driver had already committed to running.
All right, run through the lot. We're going to go in. I'm crashing into. Going out to Greenfield. We're going to go on eastbound on Greenfield. Crash into the squad, random squad, 106 on National. Going east.
The situation escalated immediately. The suspect pushed speeds close to 90 miles per hour, Weaving through city streets and cutting across traffic, he drove into oncoming lanes, ran multiple red lights, and ignored every signal to stop. Even after sustaining visible front-end damage and smoke pouring from the vehicle, the driver kept going, forcing officers to stay in pursuit through increasingly crowded urban areas. At one point, the suspect even jumped the curb and drove through a park, putting pedestrians at serious risk.
Well, after that pursuit, eastbound on National from 60. Going northbound on 34, northbound on 34. We're now eastbound on Pierce, eastbound on Pierce. He's going northbound now, 27, northbound on 27. Northbound on 27, pretty close to us right now. Doing about 10 miles an hour on traffic. Westbound is General City, pursuing Grandville Hard Squad. Almost all vehicles. Rental drive. Still northbound on 27, just red light at Pipeline. Going out there.
Eastbound Highland, he's in the westbound lane traffic. There's no traffic. That's 15. Speeds are 70. Crash, crash, crash. Pin. Northbound 13, northbound 13. Going to scrap right now, 13. Stay back and forth, northbound 14. We're going through the park. We're going north, what would be 15th, through this park area on the sidewalk.
We're in the park, 15th Street. Watch, second row, second Virginia, Mark 1. Come on, move it.
The chase reached its breaking point. Milwaukee units deployed spike strips, targeting the fleeing vehicle as it continued through the city. Moments later, the tires gave out, bringing the vehicle to a forced stop. On August 10, 2024, in Sarasota County, Florida, a high-risk situation unfolded as Florida Highway Patrol troopers tracked a suspect wanted for felony battery and child abuse. The vehicle, a dark gray Hyundai Kona, was spotted on the highway. When troopers attempted a stop, the driver made a clear decision and accelerated. The situation escalated rapidly. The suspect drove aggressively through traffic, weaving between vehicles at high speed and creating multiple near-collision situations. Despite the risk to other drivers, he continued pushing forward, refusing to yield. Troopers maintained pursuit, coordinating positions and waiting for the right moment to safely intervene. Every mile increased the danger, not just for officers, but for everyone on the road. That moment finally came. A trooper moved into position and executed a precise PIT maneuver. The Hyundai lost control, spun out violently, and veered off the roadway into the grass, bringing the pursuit to an end. Troopers quickly approached the disabled vehicle with weapons drawn, issuing commands to the driver. The suspect was removed, taken to the ground, and placed in custody without further incident. He now faces multiple charges, including felony fleeing and driving with a suspended license on top of the original violent offense allegations. What started as an attempt to escape serious charges only added more, proving that running doesn't reduce consequences. It multiplies them.